At the beginning of the movie, we see a girl named Malina who has been unconscious for quite some time. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself in the trunk of a car. She repeatedly tries to escape since the trunk is slightly open, but every time she fails because her body is too weak to move properly. Then, she sees a man approaching. His name is Max, an addict and a kidnapper, and he is the one who has abducted Malina. Malina spots her phone inside a garbage bag, which Max is about to throw away so she can't contact anyone. As Max approaches the car, Malina quickly grabs her phone and pretends to be unconscious again because she doesn't want Max to know that she has woken up. Max locks the trunk and drives off to continue his journey. Now we are left to wonder how Malina ended up in this situation. She tries to call her friend Eno because they were traveling together, but poor Malina is stuck in the trunk. After trying to call several times with no response, Malina begins to panic, unsure whether Eno is safe or not. She notices Eno's cap nearby, which makes her more anxious, fearing that Max might have harmed Eno as well. In her anxiety, Malina attempts to escape from the trunk again, but to no avail. Then Malina receives a call from a friend. She explains her situation, telling her that she's trapped in a trunk and has been kidnapped, and that Eno is also missing. Her friend doesn't believe her and thinks Malina is joking. However, she still sends some links showing how to escape from a trunk. Malina tries to follow these instructions, but nothing works. She becomes disheartened, wondering how she got into such a terrible situation. Malina then considers calling the police to inform them about her situation and to come rescue her. Unfortunately, her phone has no signal, so the call doesn't go through. While inside the trunk, Malina finds her own camera, which she had brought along to record memories of her trip. Through one of the videos, Malina recalls how she ended up in this situation. When Malina and Eno were on their trip, Eno got into an argument with Max. Max, being a dangerous man, pulled a gun on them, forcing Malina into his car. He gave her water to drink, which she didn't want to consume but had to because of Max's threats. The water made her unconscious, and when she woke up, she found herself trapped in the trunk. A little while later, Malina's phone regains network coverage, and she quickly calls the police, explaining everything to them. A female detective picks up the call and asks Malina for her location. Malina tries to use an app to find her exact location, but her signal is too weak. The little information she does manage to send isn't detailed enough for the police to locate her easily, and it would take a long time to search the area. By then, Max might have already done something to her. The detective reassures Malina, telling her that they will find her and set her free. Soon after, Malina's father calls. He accuses her of staging this kidnapping, saying that she wants to run away with Eno and is trying to extort money from him. He doesn't believe she's really in danger. Malina is shocked, wondering how her father could think such a thing. She realizes that this must be Max's doing. He must have contacted her father, pretending to be her and demanding money. Malina tries to convince her father that she is really in trouble, begging him to believe her and help her. Finally, her father starts to believe her and promises to get her out of Max's clutches. In the next scene, as Malina checks her body, she realizes why she has been so weak. Max had removed one of her kidneys. He hadn't even properly closed the wound, and blood was slowly seeping out. Malina had been so focused on saving herself that she hadn't noticed her missing kidney. Being a doctor herself, Malina knew what to do in such a dire situation. She uses a lighter to cauterize the wound, trying to stop the bleeding, but the pain is unbearable. She lets out a scream, but quickly silences herself, knowing that if Max hears her, he will realize she's awake. Malina, determined to survive, uses her earring to pierce her wound and threads a shoelace through it in an attempt to stitch the wound closed. The process is excruciating, but she bites down on Eno's cap to bear the pain. Finally, after an agonizing struggle, she manages to stop the bleeding. Shortly after, the detective calls Malina again, asking if she's okay. As they reached a new location, Malina realized that Max was refueling the car because she could hear the sound of fuel being pumped. Malina informed the detective, and the detective advised her to make some noise at the gas station, as there would likely be other people there who could help if they heard her. Hearing this, Malina started shouting, but no one could hear her except Max, as there was no one else at the gas station. Max opened the trunk and said to Malina, "I'm quite experienced with kidnapping, and what makes you think you'll escape so easily? That's not going to happen. So, do yourself a favor and stay quiet. That would be better for you, or I'll end this game right here." Malina, terrified, tried to hide her phone because if Max found out she had a phone, he might kill her immediately. Accidentally, her phone switched to speaker mode, making the detective's voice louder. To cover up the sound, Malina screamed loudly to avoid suspicion. Max got angry at her screaming and slammed the trunk shut again. Malina felt relieved, thinking, "Thank God I survived." The detective informed Malina that based on the location she provided, officers were being sent to the gas station to rescue her. They also asked her for Max's car number, but Malina didn't know the car's number, which made the police's job harder. Hearing this, Malina became more scared. thinking she might die and no one would be able to save her. But the detective reassured her, saying they would rescue her and that she should keep talking to reduce her fear. Malina began talking to the detective about herself and Eno, while the police were trying to find Eno, but there was no trace of him. In the next scene, Malina noticed a small toolbox in the trunk. She grabbed a tool and broke the rear lights of the car, hoping that someone outside would notice that she was trapped inside. The rain was pouring heavily, and water started entering the trunk. Malina drank the water to quench her thirst. When the car stopped at a signal, Malina spotted police officers behind the car. She reached out through the broken lights, trying to signal to them. The officers saw her, but Max also realized what was happening. He immediately drove on the wrong side of the road, colliding with a few cars, making it look like an accident, but still managed to escape from the police. Due to the intense impact, Malina started bleeding again. She checked her phone and found out that Max had taken her outside the city. She became convinced that she was going to die. After some time, the detective called her again, saying they were on her trail and that she shouldn't worry. But Malina, filled with anger, snapped at the detective, "By the time you find me, Max will have already killed me. You've been comforting me for so long, saying we're coming, we'll save you, but I'm done with this." Inside the trunk, in her frustration, Malina broke another piece of glass and saw the car's number reflected in it. Finally, she knew the car's number and felt a glimmer of hope, thinking the police could stop the car now and save her. Just as she was about to tell the detective the number, Eno's call came through, and seeing his name made her happy Eno was still alive. He told her to follow his instructions, or else Max would kill both of them. He also warned her not to tell the police about the number or anything else. The detective called again, informing Malina that her father had paid the ransom, but the kidnapper hadn't made any calls or given any information about her location. Malina became anxious, wondering what Max wanted now. He had already received the money, so what was his plan? Eno had told her not to reveal the car's number to the detective, because if she did, Max would kill them both. Shortly after, Max's car stopped at a checkpoint where the police were inspecting every vehicle. If Malina had given the car number to the police, she could have been saved here. But following Eno's advice, she made a foolish decision and stayed quiet. Afterward, Malina called Eno again to check on him. At that moment, she heard a strange noise, something familiar from Eno's phone. It struck her hard as she realized that Eno was actually in Max's car. Shocked, Malina couldn't believe the coincidence Eno was in Max's car. She quickly contacted the detective and asked for the number that had called her father for the ransom. The number belonged to none other than Eno himself. It all started making sense to Malina. This entire kidnapping had been orchestrated by Eno through Max. She was devastated and asked Eno why he had done this to her. Eno confessed, "Now that you know everything, there's no point in hiding it anymore. I paid Max to kidnap you because I was in huge debt, and you're the daughter of a wealthy man. Your father doesn't like me for some reason and never gave me a single penny." Eno further revealed that he hadn't planned to harvest her kidney, but Max suggested that selling a kidney would fetch a good price, so he went along with it. "Sorry, my dear, but even after getting the money, Max won't let you go now because you've seen his face, so no one can save you," Eno said. Hearing this, Malina was stunned, thinking that they did all of this for a little money. She told Eno, "If you had just asked, I would have given you everything," and then she said, "I will pray that no one else goes through this. You should never have a child and a father like you. Do you even realize that I'm going to be a mother? And it's your child. If you kill me now, you won't just be killing me, but your own child too." Hearing this, the ground beneath Eno's feet shook. He had no idea he was about to become a father. Now Eno didn't know what to do. He begged Max, saying, "I'll give you more money. Just let Malina live," but Max replied coldly, "Sorry, it's too late. She saw my face, and that's the end of it. If you say another word, I'll finish you off along with her." However, Eno was now desperate to save his child at any cost. He suddenly pushed Max, causing the car to lose balance. After attacking Max, Eno quickly pulled Malina out of the trunk. She was overwhelmed with happiness seeing him. But then Max came from behind and shot Eno, the bullet piercing through his chest. Eno died instantly. Afterwards, Max shoved Malina back into the trunk and threw Eno's body inside too, planning to dispose of them both together. Malina looked at Eno's lifeless body with regret, thinking how she had loved such a greedy and selfish man. She said, "I won't let Max live, I'd rather die, but I won't let him go free inside the trunk." Malina found a tool on the floor and jammed it into the tire. As the tool got stuck in the tire, the car spun out of control, leading to a horrific crash. The car plunged straight into the water, and Max's game ended right there. But luck was on Malina's side this time. The crash had damaged the car, and the trunk burst open. Somehow, Malina managed to escape, swimming her way to the surface where the police had already arrived. But she thought to herself, what's the point now? She had killed Max, and with her courage she had freed herself. And with that, the story of this film comes to an end.